Welcome to the training provided by Aim High Private Tuition on how to improve your child's results in school by between 1 to 2 grades in less than 6 months. My name is Arif Mohit and I'm the founder and CEO of Aim High Private Tuition. And today I'm going to be guiding you through this training for the next 30 to 35 minutes and show you exactly how you can see the progress in your child's results in a matter of 4 simple steps. First of all, a huge welcome to everybody who's watching this training, and thank you so much for giving up your time to learn something that's going to be extremely beneficial to you and your child. So let's get started. And first of all, who is this training session for? This training is going to be suitable for parents who have children aged between 5 to 16. That's both primary and secondary school. It's designed for parents who've tried to do lots of different things to help their child make progress, but they've actually really struggled. And it's designed for parents who want to get the best out of their child and give them the best opportunity in life, who know that their child is capable of a lot more than they're actually producing at the moment. And more importantly, this training is designed for parents who are willing to actually get their expert help and take action and implement what they learn today. If you're one of those parents or even a student watching this, then you're in the right place. Next, let's look at what we're going to be learning. In today's training, there are 4 outcomes. The first one is going to be to identify exactly where your child is going wrong and finding where they're actually starting from. We'll do that in our first step. The second outcome is going to be a process to allow you to after identifying what the gaps in the child's knowledge are, to provide the correct therapy to find out how you can improve those gaps. The third outcome is to allow your child to measure how much progress they've made. And last but not least is for your child to apply the knowledge, the learning that they've developed over time into unseen, unfamiliar circumstances, such as exams, etc. Here's just a couple of testimonials given by parents who have seen their children or child go through the 4 simple steps that I'm going to show you today, and they've seen the benefits of in their child's results and just generally across all other subjects. The first one is actually from a teacher whose son came to Aim High after exhausting all other avenues, all of the textbooks, all of the tutors. And once they enrolled, they realized these 4 simple steps made a huge improvement, not only in the child's achievements, but also in their confidence. Christine on the right as well realized how the online classes at Aim High, coupled with the 4 simple steps that we showed all her daughters, made their results exponential and made a huge improvement, especially during the lockdown when students were missing out on so much learning. So feel free to have a read through those in your own time. Let's get cracking on. Before we move on though, I'm gonna make an agreement with you. Now, during this training, I promise to show you exactly the steps that you need to get the progress, the best possible progress out of your child. However, I need you to do 3 things for me. First thing is for you to pay full attention. So you're watching this without any distraction in a quiet room, and you should be taking notes as well. So writing things down so you can remember it. The second agreement from you to me is that you need to watch this whole training right till the end. So make sure you've allocated a good 30-35 minutes so you can watch it in peace. And lastly, the most important step is for you to take action at the end of this training. That means not just listening to it passively and doing nothing about it at the end, but making sure that you implement the 4 steps, the simple things that I'm going to show you today. You implement it to help your child make that rapid progress. As long as you can promise me you're going to do those 3 things, we're good to go. So moving on. Now I'm going to tell you 3 scenarios that I see parents who come to me or come to our company and share with us. And there's 3 categories of parents. And the first one is this. some parents who are super supportive, they've given so much to their children, extra revision books, study books, videos, websites. They've probably even got themselves a tutor to help the child, and they've even dabbled in it with themselves. So they've tried teaching them algebra or the process of photosynthesis or whatever it is the child needs, but they've seen no improvement. They've just struggled to make the child understand anything. And, it has been overwhelming and as a result, stressful. So that's scenario one. You may be in that scenario, you may not be. Scenario two is like this. You do so much for your children, and every parent does. I know that. And no matter how much effort you put in, whether you're giving them extra support, revision, just like before in the previous slide, but your child does not engage. They're just not bothered, basically, and you can't get them enthusiastic or motivated about learning, and you probably feel like the person on the left who's fed up, and the children are just not interested. And then you've got the third option, or the third scenario, is this young man here who he's really bright. He knows his stuff. He's always been clever. He's always been at the top of the class, but for some reason in school, he's just not getting challenged enough. And as a result, he just loses focus. Everything he does in class is just enough to get him by. And most of the time, he's just on his Xbox or watching Netflix all day long and not really getting the best out of himself and his parents. And if you're a parent of this type of student, you know exactly what I mean. So what do? Do you just either give up, or do you kind of settle for them being mediocre and not getting the best out of themselves? Is that what you do? Of course not. A lot of parents will want their child to do the best they possibly can. Now, one of the reasons why you fail in these situations is not that it's your fault. No, it's nobody's fault. Only thing is, where a lot of parents and a lot of students are using an old school way of doing things, which unfortunately doesn't always work. And especially in this day and age, it doesn't work. You need to adapt and look into a new way, which I'm going to come to in very shortly. And I'm going to show you how we do it at Aim High so that you can apply it to your child at home as well. Okay, so first of all, I want to eliminate a couple of misconceptions. Now, these are blockages that a lot of parents have when they come and speak to us. And the first one, or the first misconception, is they just assume that one-to-one is the way forward. That's it. So they may have an uncle who comes and teaches their daughter, or they may have a tutor, or they want somebody who wants to work with them one-on-one. But unfortunately, this doesn't always work. Although it has got its benefits, what we found at Aim High is there needs to be a good environment, a group. Let me give you an example. So there's two images there. Imagine you're in a situation where you have to get to the top of Mount Everest in 6 days, and you've got the option of going alone on your own, bearing in mind you've never been there before, you've never done it before, and you need to get to the top within the 6 days. Would you use that option, going alone? Or would you go with the second option, where you've got a group of people with you, all similar minded, all wanting to reach the top of Mount Everest, and they have a leader, they have somebody that's already been there and that's taking them and guiding them through to get to the top. Along the way, if there are any challenges, they help each other out, pull them up. If there's anyone who's quite weak, they'll get motivated by the ones that are ahead, and so on. So it creates the right environment. So the question I want to ask you is, which one would you rather go with? Would you rather go alone, or would you rather go with a group of people that already know and will be there to help each other out? Quite naturally, you're going to go with the group, the tribe, because you've got that support there, and it'll be a lot more enjoyable, and you'll get to the result a lot quicker with less stress. And this is what this is what I always discuss with parents, and I tell them the environment is important, and one-to-one is always the best solution in this day and age. Number two, misconception. So in this misconception, a lot of parents say, well, my child already goes to school. They go to a decent school. They've got a good teacher. Why do I need to give them extra? Why do I need to support them at home? And they just rely on teachers. Of course, teachers do an amazing job. And I've been teaching over 10 years, and I'm still teaching in a secondary school. and I know just how hard teachers work. But unfortunately, in a class full of 30 or more students with different needs, the teacher is just not enough to get the best out of your child. Just like in a just like in sportsmen, they will need a coach for various parts of their lives. So for example, they'll have a specific coach for the physical challenges, the physical strength, etc. They'll have a different coach for their nutrition, and they may have a different coach for their mindset and their mental strength, etc. So you can't just have one coach or one teacher. You need to have more than one to help you improve in different ways. So that's where misconception 2 is. You can't just rely on the teacher, unfortunately, not in this day and age. And the last one is this. A lot of parents, a lot of students will just rely on being in person, in the class, in physical contact with a person to help them versus the online element of it. Now, unfortunately, the way we live in the world we're living in now, we need to move on with the time. So the online world is very important for your child to get familiar with. If they don't get familiar with it, unfortunately, they're going to get left behind. So it's extremely important for them to stay ahead of the game. And also, a lot of parents who come to me say, oh, should I do online? Should I do physical? Think of the benefits you have. Your child is at home. From the comfort of the home, they're learning. You're saving so much more time. You're not having to go and pick them up, collect them, wait in traffic, and it's so much more convenient. So misconception 3 is in person is better than online. Not necessarily. Online has got so many more benefits. So now that those 3 blockages or barriers have been discussed, hopefully it's going to make you understand how and why the Aim High method is the best method to get your child the results they're looking for. So I'm going to go into the 4 steps to success to improve your child's grade by up to 2 or even more grades in less than 6 months. Okay. However, before I do that, I need to tell you a little bit more about myself so you know why I'm the right person to give you all this training. My name is Arif Mohid, as I introduced earlier. I'm a maths teacher. I graduated with a master's in aerospace engineering from the University of Manchester, then decided to do a bit of a career change, got into teaching, which I'll tell you later on. Still teaching in a secondary school, as well as running a very successful tutoring company with several branches across the country and online. I've done various leadership roles in school and received an NPQML. Don't worry about that for now. I've actually worked on TV shows as well, on children's education TV shows to help a wider range of people across, not only in the country, but in different parts of the world as well. And quite recently, I went to train a group of teachers in Bangladesh to implement the 4 steps that I'm going to show you today to help their school become a great international school that is getting results. So I'm going to be sharing with you all this in today's training. So what is Aim High and how did it begin? Okay, with Aim High, we provide maths, English, and science tuition for children aged 5 to 16, and we are performance specialists. We improve performance of your child. But how did it begin? Right, as a child, I was told that I had dyscalculia. Now, for those of you that don't know what dyscalculia is, it's the dyslexic version of maths. And if you're not sure what that is, just think of it as it was a condition that made maths really difficult. Just my left and right, my spatial awareness, everything was so difficult to this extent. I would hate going into maths lesson. It almost made me feel sick and I would worry. As a result of this, I was predicted really low grades across all my school subjects. And I was lucky enough by year 10, so that's about age 14, I'd say, I was introduced to a mentor who showed me these 4 simple steps, and they're so simple. And he helped me apply them in the right way. And I managed to change everything around within the last 1 or 2 years of my school career, and went from a really low predicted student. So my predicted grades were grade D's, maybe a couple of C's, E's, etc. To then having achieved within just over a year, I'd say, having made so much improvement that I left school with some of the best GCSE results in my year group. That's how much of an improvement these 4 steps, which I'm going to show you today, made to me. And then going into college was also a bit of a struggle because I wasn't allowed to do A-level maths, which was required for me to get into engineering. So I had to kind of convince my teacher to let me on, and they did, bless them. And the important thing is they actually said, you're going to get a grade E, which was a lot lower than, which was a very low grade, which wasn't enough for me to get into university. But again, applying these 4 steps, which I'm going to show you today, and sheer determination and grit, I managed to overcome that, and I left sixth form college with every single subject of mine at a grade A, and that was huge progress for me. And today, this is what I want to show you, how your child can do the same, obviously with your help as well. And during that time, since then I kept applying these 4 simple steps, got me through university. And then after I graduated, instead of going to aerospace engineering, I decided that I wanted to make a difference to young people. And that's when I decided to do a change in career direction, and I did an extra qualification in teaching, and I became a teacher. In the meantime, I wanted to try out my 4 simple steps on. So what I did was, at the back of our family business, which was a grocery store, in the butcher department, which wasn't being used very much at the time, I converted it all into a makeshift classroom. I remember getting 4 baked beans tins, wrapping it around with duct tape and piling it on top, piling a table on top of it to make a desk. I got a few students that were in the community, got them in to the makeshift classroom, and I applied these 4 steps, and I saw the improvement in their school results, and so did their parents. And that's when Aim High was born. There was slowly but surely people had recognized, wow, this is working. This Aim High methodology is getting results. And being in a very deprived area at the time and making a difference to these young people's lives, people realized this is something that's important. And I realized this is what I wanted to do. And boom, Aim High was born. And we're lucky to say that we've got several branches, and we've now expanded, helping people across the country with our online presence. And today I want to show you how you can do exactly the same using 4 simple steps. Again, what we do is we're a performance specialist. I think I mentioned that. And we help children in maths, English, and science. We have a group of teachers, group of tutors who are experts in this field. So, enough about me. If you haven't done so yet, I suggest you grab a pen and paper so you can make notes, and let's go. Now, I mentioned earlier the old way, the way that wasn't working, and I mentioned the 3 blockages or the misconceptions. Now, I want to introduce to you the new way that you're going to use. This is called the Aim High Pyramid, and it's very important that you understand how it works. There's 3 elements to this pyramid, and each one is important. And without one of them, this pyramid doesn't work. So the first one is the strategy. No matter where you go, this is the easiest thing to get. These are things like revision guides, the worksheets your teacher gives you, the videos you get on the internet, the websites. Strategy is so readily available. There's so many things that you can easily get online that will help you with your strategy. However, on its own, the strategy doesn't work. Because if it did, everybody would have been getting the progress. Everybody would have been doing so well, because the world is full of strategies. Think of it this way. There's so many diet plans for people that are wanting to lose weight, so many exercise regimes for people that want to get fit. Well, why is it that we are not fit? Why is it that people are not getting the results? It's because they lack the second stage of the Aim High Pyramid, which is the mindset and the habit. Habits are so important, and they need to be ingrained into you in order for the strategy to work. And that's what we do at Aim High to help students gain the best out of the strategy. We develop habits in them, and that's what you should be doing as well, and having the right mindset so that students are open to growth. So that's the second stage. And like I said, without the mindset and habits, the strategy doesn't work. And the third step, which I touched on earlier on with the mountain analogy, is the environment. Having a good group environment that will help your child or will help you implement the strategies, the mindset, and the habits within the group so that you can. So think of it this way: you've got a group of students that are working together on the for the same goal, and they all want to get to the top using the same with the same strategies. They'll help each other out along the way. So that's why environment is essential. And one of the reasons why I realized how important environment was actually when I was in school. When I was a child, I was a very quiet student. I never put my hand up because I was scared. I was not scared. I was shy. I didn't want to um, make a fool of myself, etc. So what I would rely on would be the person next to me to ask the same question that I was hoping he would ask so that I could answer me. And luckily that would work. So I would rely on the person next to me to ask the question I was thinking of. And in the same way, that's why environment is important. Having the right environment to help your child learn from other students is essential. Okay, I've gone over that step really quickly. Hopefully that should have set the scene for you for what we're about to learn, which is our 4 steps to success at Aim High. And here we go. I call this the DTTR method, the diagnosis, therapy, testing, and revisiting methodology at Aim High. And this is a core principle underpinning all our approach in supporting students at Aim High. So I'm going to go into each stage in a bit more detail now. So the first step, step 1, we call this the diagnosis. And this is the fundamental to the ability to improve student outcomes and making sure that you know where they have gaps in their knowledge. So think of it as a doctor. When you go to see a doctor, the first thing he or she does is diagnose what your problem is. There's no point in giving you medication if they don't know what the problem is. In the same way, that's what we do at Aim High. Find out where your gaps lie. Now, the problem that parents face, or what students or parents do wrong, is they don't diagnose their problem. They don't have a starting point. They just go in studying or doing worksheets or doing tasks without even knowing where they're starting from. Think it's a bit like you want to get to London from Manchester, but you don't know where you're starting from. So how do you know which direction you're going to go? So that's why the diagnosis is essential. And this is how we do it at Aim High. We find out exactly where the child's gaps lie, and then we know we have a starting point. So in this example, you can see angles and parallel lines was a gap in students' knowledge across the board. 4 students didn't even attempt this question, and 2 got 0%. 1 got 33%, which isn't bad, but we know that this is a clear area to focus on. Hence, we diagnose the problem. Step 1. Okay. Now, step 2 is called the therapy. Just like a doctor would provide some sort of remedy, some sort of therapy treatment after they've diagnosed a problem, in the same way at Aim High, what you should be doing is applying the right therapy to fill those gaps in the learning. So we do this with the help of our expert tutors, as well as our set of methodologies that we have at Aim High. And this is what you could be doing as well. However, one of the things that parents and students do wrong is this: they go simply revising anything and everything. They'll get all the textbooks, they'll make so many different notes, and most of the time, and I'm saying this from personal experience, we revise things that we're already good at. We enjoy things that we enjoy. So if it's a younger student, they'll practice the spellings they're good at. They'll practice the times tables they're already good at. They won't even look at the harder ones like the 8 times tables or the 7 times tables, for instance. And that's where they go wrong. They just make concrete what they already know, but shy away from the things they don't. So make sure you do the right thing and apply the right therapy. So how we do at Aim High, we have a structured approach. Once we've diagnosed the gaps, we simply create a plan of attack. So we know exactly which topic we're going to do, when we're going to do it, how we're going to do it, and then we move on. So we have a clear path to progress. So, and we know which topic to do when and which topic will link in. And this is how you should be doing, as you should be doing your helping your child study as well, applying the right therapy in the right format. So that's the second stage. The third stage is called the testing. Now, this is a crucial step, and it provides evidence as to whether your child has actually learnt anything in the therapy stage. Think of it like this. Imagine your child is preparing for a football game. So in the training phase, in their own time, they're practicing all the shooting skills. They're practicing the dribbling skills, the tackling skills, the passing skills. They're doing that really well, day in, day out, day in, day out. And then what they don't do is they don't test it out in a football match. So they've not practiced it out in real life. And then when the big match comes, when they're supposed to play a different team, they realize, hang on, I can't really, I've lost the game, and they become so disappointed because no matter how much effort they've put in, the results have actually been zero. And that's why it is crucial that you have the testing phase, whereby you test the child to see if they've learned something. And again, this is what students do wrong. They learn all the techniques, they learn everything, but they won't apply it. And everything they've learned is not worth it because they've not been able to apply it in the test. In other words, they've actually not progressed. They've actually not learned anything. So testing is an essential step at Aim High. And the last step, oh, by the way, this is how we do it, just to tell you. Once after a period of therapy, after a period of teaching them, we compare their test results, or we compare their progress with how they did after the therapy. So we compare it with the diagnosis step. So in this example, we've got, if you look at the bottom, on the 9th of November, this particular student got 35% in his geometry test. And then after a couple of months, in January, he got 89%. So you can see the huge improvement by 54% of this child. And that's how you measure, and that's how we test that our therapy has worked. And now the last step, and again, very crucial step, we call step 4, the review and revisit stage. And this allows you to check that the student has actually retained all the knowledge they've learned over the past steps in therapy and testing and diagnosis, etc., and that they can apply it to different contexts. Because there's no point really learning something if you can't apply it in any other context, or in particular, if it's an exam you're doing, if you can't apply it in an exam situation. So this is the problem. So if you read this yellow image on this yellow image, you'll understand exactly what I mean, because let's face it, we've all seen this situation before. You've done all the revision, you stayed up all night, you've studied, you've helped your child, everything you've done correctly. However, you go to the exam and you read the question and you think, what on earth does that mean? You can't decode the question. In other words, you can't apply it. Okay, so what's the point of learning something if you can't apply the knowledge to different contexts? And essentially, you can't pass an exam. And over the years, I've seen so many frustrated students, and I include myself in this, is we spend hours learning something and you come out of the exam thinking, it just went blank. I didn't learn anything. I didn't understand anything. Or worst case scenario, they come and tell you, I'm just not good at exams. And unfortunately, to get the best GCSEs or the SATs or 11 plus or whatever it is you want, you need to be good at exams. And I see so many people just feel demoralized month after month, but it doesn't have to be that way, because there is a way, and you need to know how to go back to those topics that you learned and review them and revisit them, but apply yourself in a different scenario, in a different context. So you're actually answering exam style questions. You're checking to see how your answers compare to the mark schemes of the exam questions that you've answered. But more importantly, you are revisiting those old topics, because if you don't revisit them, you won't retain them. And if you don't retain them when it comes to the exam, you're not going to do well. So it's essential that we go back to the review and revisit stage, and that's what we do. So here's an example of how we do it at Aim High. So this is a particular student who's wrote down their response to an exam style question. So they've applied it. It may be different to how they learned it in the therapy stage, but they're now applying it, and with the help of our expert tutors who guide them to structure the answers to make sure that they can get the full marks in the test. And some more examples, again, GCSE maths exam paper, there's a Key Stage 2 SATs style paper. This is just to train your child to get the best in those different contexts. So now I'm giving you the 4 simple steps: the diagnosis, identifying where they're starting from and where the gaps are; the therapy, all the things that they need to learn and how they need to learn it in the order they need to learn it, and having a good plan of attack; the testing, which is a vital stage to see if you've actually made the progress; and the last bit is review and revisit, which is to be able to apply your knowledge to different scenarios, to exam style questions, to make sure that you've fully mastered the techniques. Okay, I want to give you an example of a student who very recently joined Aim High. It's actually been over 6 months. Who was one of the students that I explained in the third scenario I gave you. So this was a really bright, I know, a sharp child who was very good, especially in primary school. And what his mum had realized is, in school he just wasn't getting challenged enough. He would do the work, get it done, and that was it. He wasn't getting enough challenge in school, and as a result, he was just coasting along, and he became lazy and just doing the bare minimum to get mediocre results. And what his mum found was that he was constantly on the Xbox, watching Netflix, etc., and not getting the best out of his own ability. His mum approached me, and within 6 months, we tailor made a package for him to help him make the progress. So now, when he first started at the end of year 8, he made so much progress that he is now working higher than most year 11s in the country in maths. And that's way before he even reaches year 11. He's now on track to get a grade 9. And this was simply by implementing, with the help of our experts, the 4 simple steps that your child can do today if you implement it in the right order and you do it consistently, bearing in mind the triangle I showed you earlier on, using that to help you as well. So that's what can be done. And there's loads. We have so much testimonials. I've just got a couple of here to show you. This is from the one on the left is from a year 5 student. She joined us very low in confidence. Mum was working so hard trying to help her at home with homeschooling, and she just couldn't sustain it. And her daughter's confidence was becoming really low. But when she discovered Aim High, we had a long chat over the phone, and now she actually enjoys learning. She looks forward to her weekly sessions, and she's actually getting to the top of the class now and is doing really well. Similarly, another student on the right who realized that our sessions, our classes, and our main thing, our path that we show, the 4 simple steps that you've seen, has had a huge benefit, not only to this student's academic progress, but just generally in life. And he's gone on to do so many amazing things. So these are just a couple of examples of how you can see the benefit in your child using these 4 simple steps. Now, I want to first of all say congratulations and thank you so much for making it this far. You've made it, and you've hopefully realized these simple steps that you need to get the best out of your child. And before we come to an end, I want to remind you about the agreement that we made earlier on. The agreement that to be honest, I think you've fulfilled both the first 2. The third one I want you to remind you is the one where I asked you to take action, where you can learn things. So when you're watching this training, hopefully you're picking things up, but there's no point watching something and listening if you're not going to take action. So there's 2 options you have here. The first option is you do nothing and you hope that this training has done some sort of good and you kind of feel good about it, or it's gone in through one ear out the other and tomorrow's another day, boom, no progress in your child. Or you take the second option, which I highly recommend, is you implement everything that I've shared with you today in this training to help your child make that progress that they deserve. It's really simple. All you got to do is make sure you follow the 4 steps and you apply it regularly, coupled with the Aim High triangle that I showed you. And then you know that truly this training has been extremely useful for you. Now, there is one more option I'm going to show you now, and this option is if you want quick results and you want to get to the progress really quickly, and that is to make sure you schedule a call with either myself or one of our experts, and we'll show you how you can get the results a lot quicker for your child and by just a phone call. All you're going to do is book a call, click the link either on the screen or anywhere on the post that you're watching this from, and arrange a time, and we'll have a conversation to see how we can help your child to get the results faster. If we do find an opportunity to work together to get your child quicker results and we can help your child, then great. If not, at least you're going to come out of the call with a great understanding of how you can help your child yourself to get the best possible results. Now, I want to say thank you so much for your time, and I hope this has been of value to you. If you've got any questions, I've left my email there. We've got our website, but please do book a call. At least we can have a chat and we can see how we can help you further. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.